Hunter x Hunter was an amazing 91 episodes. The other 57 were trash. Now, your first thought may be, but Green Bean, Hunter x Hunter has 148 episodes. What could you possibly mean by only 91 of them being only good? Well, that's exactly what I mean. Only 91 episodes of the show are actually good. The others are complete horse crap. So yeah, in this video, I'm gonna go arc by arc and tell you where those 57 episodes lie and why they're bad. Hint, they're all in one arc. So first arc is the Hunter exam arc. Now, I didn't think that the Hunter exam arc was bad. I just thought, oh, this is a slightly more boring version of the tuning exams, even though this came first, you know? This arc didn't really do anything egregious. It introduced our characters, which is always nice, but it didn't establish a power system, which I kind of found annoying, but I was like, okay, so there's not going to be a power system in this anime. Got it. Even though it's a shonen. Secondly, we get a lot of building those relationships. This arc did not make me like Kurapika. This arc made me like Leorio a lot, and with any arc without Leorio, I don't like. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. There's one exception to that, of course. And then also, it brought in Killua, which I didn't really find interesting in this arc. He was just kind of the happy-go-lucky best friend to Gon. Oh, by the way, I do not like Gon. This arc does not make Gon look good. It's just kind of like generic shonen protagonist. Yay! By the way, he's 12 and could probably beat you up. Hisoka was just really creepy, which I guess was the point. I liked him in this arc. Illumi, okay, I kind of liked him. Killua at the end of the arc was a whole lot better. At the beginning of the arc, he was horrible. I did not like most of the exam parts, like the test, where they had to go down the tower. That was really bad. Sure, it had some hype moments, but as an entire section, it just went on too long. Now, contrary to what I said before, in that tower section, Leorio was not that good. Like, it was not good. Killua really shined there. The cooking hunter exam part, didn't like. It was just boring. Like, I don't get what it really added except introducing Netero, which they easily could have done at the end of, which in fact they do. They do it at the end of the arc again in the tournament section, or even in the part where they're all on the blimp, which I guess you would need, but that's about it. Overall, yeah, pretty generic shonen arc, but not the best. Going into the second arc of Hunter x Hunter here, we have the Zoldyck family arc, which I think this arc gets way too much hate for what it is. This arc is I think it's like 5 episodes, and it's a perfectly fine arc, you know? Killua leaves after the end of the Hunter exam arc, and, you know, he's depressed, so he goes back home, and his family abuses him, like every good loving family does. Now, this arc focuses on Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika's attempts to go get him, and in the end it proves fruitless, and it's just... The only character I like during this arc is Goto, or whatever, the guy who does the coin trick, the butler. I like him. He was cool. Yeah. But yeah, this arc gets way too much hate. Oh, I also like Canary. Canary was dope. I feel like she was a great addition. But this arc was only slightly better than the Hunter exam arc. Yeah. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. I almost forgot that this arc existed. But it's still a pretty good arc. So the main purpose of this arc is to introduce the power system of Nen, which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Nen. It just sounds like chakra with extra steps. Um, we also get some good Hisoka development, and other than that, not much else. So the main thing I don't like about Nen in this arc specifically, in later arcs it's fine, specifically in the Greed Island arc, but this arc just really, they just use it to protect themselves. There's not exploding fist or electricity, you know. Hisoka has his bungee gum, and the entire time I was just sitting there like, okay, what are they supposed to do against that? They have their 10, but that's just kind of like, oh yeah, your Nen, it only affects me 50% less, 50% debuff, my guy. Come at me. But other than that, like, yeah, some of the fights were really cool. Like the one where Gon fought that guy who was spinning. That was really cool. And the Gon versus Hisoka fight, which everybody loves. And I've got to admit, it was a pretty good fight. Most of the fights that everybody loves, I love too. But I just can't ignore poor story structure and um, character development when we see it. So there was the whole thing with Killua being there beforehand, which I really like that because like, okay, so we have a reason to go here other than the money. Killua knows what he's doing, and that barely plays a role. And they're like, okay, so since you left, you cannot come back here ever again. And just like, why? People aren't gonna fight here forever. They're gonna go places. They're gonna go do stuff. Why do you have that rule in place? Other than that, it, it was just your typical tournament arc. That wasn't really a tournament arc. Um, they basically did this in the Hunter exams. There's nothing to really separate this arc from many others. It's just the tournament arc. Uh, yeah, so that's my thoughts on the Heaven's Arena arc. I nearly forgot this existed. Alright, boys, now we're getting into the arcs that I actually like. This is my second favorite arc in the entire series. So this arc was great. I love almost every part of it. So let's start off with the positives. So I really like the Phantom Troop. They are great. I love all of them. Kurapika, I finally started to like Kurapika in this arc. Leorio was here. That was cool. After the last arc, which was eh. Oh, I didn't even mention Zushi or whatever the master's name was. I think it was Wing. Yeah. But anyway, this arc was great because we got Kurapika's Nen ability, which was, I've been waiting for something like that. And we have the motivation there. After Gon learned Nen, he discovered the copy of Greed Island that his dad left him. And now they have a reason to be in York New City. So does Kurapika. The Oreo is there, because of the promise they made after the Zoldyck family retrieval arc. Um, but this arc was great. I loved the fights, especially Kurapika versus Uvagin. You can tell that I like this fight because, I actually remembered who Uvagin was. This becomes a problem later on. Um, this fight, this entire arc was just also really well paced, and all the characters were amazing. Now, the parts that I didn't like, I did not like most of the scenes with with like Kurapika's gangster group. I didn't like Melody. I didn't like who the other people were. I don't even remember their names. Um, they were just like kind of boring, you know? It just yeah. Anyway, back to the good. That Requiem scene though. Yeah. Definitely go watch that. I would watch Hunter x Hunter up until this arc, and then I just recommend like reading Well, I know. I would recommend watching the arc after this one, reading the wiki, and then watching the last few episodes. Because, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, love the York New City arc. Second favorite arc in the series. Alright, now we're on my third favorite arc of Hunter x Hunter. The Greed Island arc was amazing. I don't really know if this was because I watched the entire thing in one sitting, but that definitely helped. So first off, what's good about this arc? Love the setting. I love the setup from the last arc with Gon finding the video game that his dad left him. I love how Gon and Killer will finally get some Nen abilities here. You know, uh, I love Bisky. She was fun. Um, I love the whole card collecting, and my favorite thing is Razor and that whole dodgeball scene. Alright, what I don't like about this arc, I did not like the villain at all. The villain was absolute horse crap. So, the bomber was the worst villain of this entire series. I'm going to say that here right now. Which I know nobody's going to disagree with me. But yeah, I'm not really going to go beyond that because there's nothing else to explain. I feel like this arc gets way too much hate. This arc was actually really good. So for one, this arc really develops Gon and Killua a lot more. This was the arc where I started to like Killua. Sorry about that. Gon here was actually interesting for once because of his actual ability now, and when he sacrificed his hands. Razor, everything with Razor. Love Razor. Razor is probably my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter other than Leorio. Bisky training stuff. I love the card collecting. The card collecting was really fun. But yeah, now we're gonna go to the Chimera Ant arc. I'm just gonna flat out say it. The Chimera Ant arc is the worst arc in Hunter x Hunter. You know those 57 episodes that I talked about at the beginning that were trash? They're all in this arc. Now you may be saying, this arc has 60 episodes. Here's the thing. The Netero versus Miroem fight takes up 2 episodes. That was a good fight. Gon versus Pito takes up 1 episode. That was a good fight. Those were the 3 episodes that I actually liked from this arc. Now, speaking on that, let's start with the positives. I really like Komugi. Komugi was great. I also love her relationship with Miroem. I love Miroem. Miroem is a great villain. Pito was good as well. Godspeed was cool. That was cool to see. Gon's power up, yeah, that's hype. Like, what more do you want? Now, let's go to the negatives. The entire beginning of this arc is horrible. The way that they go from Greed Island to the Chimera Ant arc was not that good. Secondly, the pacing of this entire arc is atrocious. For some parts of it, I literally had to stop and take a break because it was so slow. Secondly, I hate Yuppie and Poof. They were horrible. Third, there was no reason for Meruem to still be alive after his fight with Netero. If Netero had, if Meruem had died when Netero sacrificed himself, and Poof and Yuppie were defeated, this would have been way better. The pacing would have still been horrible, but this would have been way better. The entire section in the middle with the training, and then, oh god, all the extra Chimera ants that I'm supposed to remember. The only one that I can remember is Leol, and that was only because he was an orange cat with a surfboard. It was horrible. It's my least favorite arc overall, like a 2 out of 10 at best. And I know everybody loves this arc, but it's just a bad arc. I can't show my frustrations for this arc enough. I I just can't with this arc. This arc broke me. I thought that the series was going great. I'd heard great things about the Chimera Ant arc, and I got to the Chimera Ant arc and just hated it immensely. But yeah, but the arc after it was actually my favorite arc. So, all right, now we're getting into my favorite arc of Hunter x Hunter. This arc was great. Because I love the politics, and Leorio was amazing in this arc. It was a really nice way to wrap up the series. All right, the good parts of it. I love Killua and Aluka's whole section in the story. I love how it ties into the 13th election part really nicely at the end. And I love Aluka as a character. This was the arc that cemented Killua as being a great character. Leorio was great in this arc. You could tell that I really like this arc because Gon was missing for most of it. All right, I think that having this plays off great from the Chimera Ant arc because the chairman of the Hunter Association, Netero, had just died in the last arc. So it makes sense that their immediate solution to that is we gotta find a new head. It's not like in Naruto when, the fourth Hokage dies and they're like, well, let's just go back to the third one. And then when he dies, we're like, well, let's take a month to go find this very specific person who probably doesn't even want to be the Hokage, and then make them the fifth Hokage. Uh, but this is just great. The only parts that I don't like was I did not like Jing in this arc. I just don't like Jing at all. Jing was a horrible character. Um, the villain in this arc, I forget his name. He was slightly better than the bomber, but not by much. The Zodiacs, I like them, but they didn't give me enough on the Zodiacs to chew on. But that's about it for this arc. Overall, I generally liked 91 episodes of Hunter x Hunter. This series was one that I watched over the quarantine, and it filled most of my time. I thought it was pretty good, except for the 57 episodes. Is it the king of shonen? No. That is One Piece. Um, but it does do a lot of things right, but it also does a lot of things wrong. I feel like I haven't read the manga, but I hear it's better. I probably am not going to read it unless someone really persuades me to read it, because I don't see myself wanting to at all. I know that the Hunter x Hunter fan base is one of the most toxic fan bases out there. I'm going to say this. The Hunter x Hunter fan base is worse than the JoJo fan base. Now, that's coming from a JoJo fan, so be wary of that. But would I recommend this series? Yes, but watch out for the Chimera Ant arc. It is not as good as everybody says. Alright, this is Green Bean signing out. Arrivederci.